Welcome to Tavetta Talks. I am Tavetta, and I am talking about Gary greatness with the multi-talented Altovise Ferguson. Welcome, Altovise, and how are you?
I'm doing good. Great. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. I want you to describe yourself to the viewers in one sentence. Who is Altovise Ferguson?
Altovise Ferguson is a multi-talented, multitasking, mighty woman of God.
In one sentence, what is freedom to Altovise today? Freedom.
Freedom today for Altovise is not being a people pleaser.
Interesting. Let's talk about Gary. What schools did you attend in the city of Gary, Indiana?
I attended Allen L. Locke Elementary School in the great city of Gary, Indiana. And from there, I went to the great, the mighty Emerson Visual and Performing Arts. Arts. You see, I didn't say High Ability Academy. It's arts, School of the Arts in it there. All the other ones were fake.
I'll let you have your moment since this is your interview. And we'll just go to our next question. What are some of the life lessons that you learned from your teachers in Gary?
The life lessons that I learned, wow. I learned, I'll say, more life lessons towards the middle school, high school age. I learned about perseverance. I learned about focus and discipline and self-control. I learned a lot of that with all my teachers, academic as well as arts teachers at Emerson. You really had to be disciplined when it was time for performances. Self-control. I learned all of that.
Those are valuable lessons. What would you say are your happiest memories of Gary, Indiana?
My happiest memories of Gary. Oh, growing up, ice cream truck coming down the street. I grew up on 2312 Jennings Street, the BIC. That's close to Terrytown. You know, just being able to go outside and play and ran my 10 speed, stuff like that. Going to the park, screaming wheels to the rink, different things like that. But most of all my performances, all of my dance recitals at Corrine's Dance Studio, that's where I initially really got started. That was my first teacher that I ever had. I mean, it was arts, you know, not academics, but I was 2 years old when I started taking dance. So Corrine was my first dance teacher. That was like my second home. I was there every Saturday, and it was time for recital time. I was there the last 3 months going into the summer, like every day.
Wow. How do you believe being nurtured in Gary, Indiana prepared you to go and make a positive difference in other areas of the world?
Gary taught me how to keep fighting. Gary is a beautiful place. I know it has a bad rep for different things, but it's so many talented people here in our great city. We're molded here in Gary. The reason I said fight, things don't come to us easy. So when we go to other places like Chicago, we've been made in Gary. So we're working hard to be in that competition as far as your artistic creative ability. I'll give you an example. A lot of people don't think, you know, you had a performing art, it's a performing arts school in Gary, or you got trained in Gary, or where you come from. When I say I'm from Gary, it's like, what? Because they see the training or the professionalism or just the talent that we have. Because I'm not the only one in the city of Gary. It is so many of my sisters and brothers that are thebomb.com that got it going on. And Gary teach you to fight. It teach you, you know, we home of the Jacksons, Denise Williams, so many other greats, and now the new younger generation of greats. My son, Amaya Ferguson, Dana Evans, you know, my daughter, Amari Ferguson, you know, all these great people, you know.
Yes, I am hopeful because of the youth. They really, really keep me hopeful. What would you say to someone who maybe has the question, does greatness really come from Gary? How would you respond to that question?
I would say yes, greatness comes from Gary. That's just like any city. Greatness can come out of any city. I was raised well. I was raised by two people, which were my grandparents, who raised and legally adopted me when I was 9 years old. I was raised with morals, values, and tradition. So greatness can come out of Gary. Even people I've seen who weren't raised like I was, who had to fight through things and who haven't had much greatness in this city. Greatness is all around you. You have to fight. I said, Gary makes us want it. It's like the fight, the fight. Like my daughter Amari, she wants to really rebuild our city, and she's doing just such a phenomenal job starting off doing that. She could have went anywhere with her degree and went anywhere and started working or whatever, but she's also a serial entrepreneur and she wants to give back. And she did that this year with her back to school event. So kudos to my baby girl, my firstborn. I'm proud of her. And with her and a couple of other creatives in her age bracket, that's what they want to do. My son with his acting. He wants to bring different things back to the city of Gary. Our heart is here.
That's a powerful statement. I thank you for all that you've done to continue to shine a positive light on the city of Gary wherever you go. I appreciate that. I thank you for giving up your time and your talents, especially to the youth through the youth programs. Let's talk a little bit about that, because you recently had an award, which is a big deal. So let's talk about your work with the youth.
Okay. So I will say I've been working with the youth since I was a youth. At Corrine's Dance Studio, I had the distinct honor with some other students. We were chosen to be assistants, and we taught dance. We helped Corrine. We would take over classes. So I was teaching. I was 11 years old. So some of my students were my age or younger. And so I began to do that at 11 years old. So I've had the experience of leading and doing that. And so over the years, I was blessed to help aid and assist the STREAM programs with the science, technology, education, arts, and mathematics portion here in the great city of Gary. It was STREAM this year, and because we did robotics. With all of that, I got to become the performing arts director. And my first experience with that was 2017, 2016. And it was a phenomenal experience. I got to teach dance, teach the arts, and I have only 6 weeks to put on a program. So I'm working with children, some who've been exposed to the arts or have not. So this year, I got to do the program again, and I had the 6 weeks. And this time was a little more challenging because the children have been at home for a year. They were a little different. So the discipline was a little different, but I treat them just like humans, which they are. I was able to bring those children together and teach them control, self-discipline, leadership, focus, creativity, and then expose them to music and different genres of music they haven't heard except what they're hearing today. So the theme this year was empowerment. They dealt with so much loss in the pandemic with loved ones dying, maybe close to them. And then we're seeing what's happening on with TV with hate, racial injustice. So we made that our focus. So a lot of the songs were I'm Black and I'm Proud. For them. And we did Stand Up from the Harriet soundtrack. So they were able to create a monologue that they presented. So it was, I am beautiful, I am bold, I am creative. And they'll remember that. And so those children, some of them came in rough. They weren't really receiving me at first or receiving some of my other staff. And by the end of those 6 weeks, they hugging. They would see me come in from work because I would go to the salon from 7:30 to noon. And then I would go be with the children. And they would like Miss Altovise just to see them hug at the end. And then when they got on stage, the adrenaline rush, they were so excited when they got in their costumes and different things like that. So we also had the arts component to make costumes. So they were all in, they used all their creativity. Yes, some children would say, well, I want to be in this part of the number, but don't want to do this. So they were able to go in different areas in the program. So it was wonderful. And I can't wait to see what we're going to do with it next year.
That is phenomenal. Thank you so much. And you are quite modest because you didn't announce your award, but I celebrate the award that you recently won for mentoring, because to be an award-winning mentor, that says a lot about your heart, a lot about your purpose, and it's a beautiful sight to see you be rewarded after all that you have gone through to be able to reach back and to mentor the next generation. So I thank you for that investment of your time and the way that you give to help make this next generation stronger and wiser and equipped to lead. And I thank you for your time today, Mrs. Ferguson.
Thank you. Mwah.